Well, here we are. Metroid Dread. I started recording the day it was released so I'd have a completely blind playthrough here. But it's taken me a while to get around to working on the commentary. I don't generally comment on recent releases in a lot of different series. This game I have definitely been looking forward to, though. Did they really need to include the almost Inception horn thing to the menu music? Seems to be just the right level of brightness to me, but maybe that's just my opinion. I guess we're getting some text dump for those of us who haven't gone through the other 2D games. That's understandable considering how long it's been since Fusion was released, and how Nintendo hasn't re-released some of those various things. Oddly disappointed the text didn't mention that Samus is the reason those creatures are extinct. While I wouldn't mind the Metroid staying extinct past Super Metroid's part in the timeline, I would like to see more of the X moving forward. And given the way the game worded that, I'm pretty sure they're gonna make an appearance here. Much as I like the detailed pictures of how Samus got infected in the last game, I can't help wishing that that was at least partially a cutscene. But maybe that's just me being greedy. And great, now I'm wondering how Samus's suit is gonna look once we finally get control again. A combination of flesh and technology generally looks pretty awesome, even in some of the creepier universes. Ah, the SAX. Shame that the franchise decided to give at least 2 more mere enemies for us to fight after Fusion, though I suppose that's a spoiler for this game and the Prime games that I haven't gotten to commenting on yet. Sorry about that, I'm just groaning at the fact that when Nintendo gets a good idea, they can't help but to try driving it into the ground until there's a proverbial trench. Though apparently they aren't going to do anything just yet with the Federation trying to screw us over after Fusion. Shame, that seemed like a pretty good plot thread. Well, I think this is the first time we've ever had an anonymous tip. Kind of want to be suspicious, but to be fair, the X are the kind of thing where we can't afford to just ignore it. And let me guess, the research team got torn to shreds just like all the other Federation teams so far, right? At least these things are robots, so the X won't be able to have a chance to assimilate them. That's a bit of a relief. But then the X seem to assimilate a lot of crap. Of course it was. Well, Samus's armor is looking good. Wonder what our excuse for losing the Viera suit is gonna be this time. Bit of a long loading screen. Excuse me for fast forwarding through it.
be entering ZDR's atmosphere.
The bounty for this mission does not seem appropriate. The risk clearly outweighs the reward. Treat our lost assets with care, lady.
Entering the atmosphere in T-10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That elevator leads to the depths of an underground facility. Signal quality is likely to be low. Remote communication remains difficult. Try to connect to the facility's network when you reach the bottom. That way, you can remain in contact. Any objections, lady?
Right, so something happened that freaked Samus out at the moment here. Something that's gonna remain a mystery for us for now, kind of annoying, and of course we don't have an immediate explanation for why Samus lost several upgrades before we got control. And I'm pretty sure she's more exasperated than worried that her armor is in a less capable state at the moment, considering how often that happens to her. Still, the other guy in the Chozo suit is a bit worrying. I know if I'd done more when completing the 3DS game, that we'd have had more warning who and what this fresh enemy is, but those of us in the audience who aren't completionists are kinda in the dark here. Anyway, we're starting with the ledge grab and some missiles, better than starting with nothing but the basic power beam. Really hoping that the speed booster isn't gonna be a thing in this game, but then it's been a thing in all the 2D Metroid games. And of course, we don't have the Morph Ball yet. It's amazing how much I dislike not having that particular upgrade, considering how basic it is. I'm not even asking for the bombs that go with it, just the ability to turn into a ball. Okay, first enemies of the game certainly aren't X's in any way, shape, or form. Wait, I'm sorry, a slide mechanic in a Metroid game? I suddenly have the distinct feeling it's gonna take us a while to get the Morph Ball this time. At least it's pretty obvious the things that we can blow up, at least at the moment. That's definitely not going to be the case as things keep moving forward, though. Well, the art team certainly decided to throw a good variety of monsters at us before we even got to the first upgrade of the game. Hell, we haven't even made it to the first save point yet. Also like how the background creatures react to what's going on in the foreground, even if there's no way for us to actually interact with them. The team that did the 3DS remake certainly learned a lot of lessons for when they got to this game. Not sure I like the fact that this first area feels like a more blatant tutorial than the start of Metroid 2 remake, but hopefully the hand-holding won't last too much longer after this clip.
Uploading data.
So, you've accessed a network station. Well done, Samus. I have reviewed your vital signs and video log from the data you uploaded. I've run a full analysis, but I cannot account for why you lost consciousness. My readings indicate dramatic physical changes in you. Whatever caused these changes seems to have stripped you of most abilities. You might call it physical amnesia. That brings me to your assailant. I am checking the Federation database against your video log. It appears to have been a Chozo. The attacker's identity is not yet clear. I have determined that you are somewhere within the depths of ZDR. Your top priority should be to return to your ship on the surface. This situation is precarious. Trust your instincts as you navigate upward. This planet appears to consist of multiple areas. Shuttles, elevators, and other modes of transport connect them. Keep an eye out for ways to reach the surface. The ship's location is marked on your global map. Check it for yourself. You may encounter pockets of low temperature. Your Metroid DNA renders you vulnerable to such environments. Spending time in cold areas will be harmful to you. There are many such cold areas scattered underground. Do not enter them with your basic power suit. One final thing. Underground interference is preventing radio transmissions. Check in with me at any network stations you find.
Well, I have no objections to that at the moment. I just hope you avoid becoming as annoying as you did in the previous game, Adam. As a side note, oddly annoyed that the game doesn't give you a bit of text that temporarily pauses things after you save to give you the chance to maybe grab a drink between save points without the timer continuing to keep moving. It's not a major thing, considering the minus button is pretty available, but still, this early in the game, even minor mechanical things are going to annoy me. I'll get used to it soon enough, just like I'll get used to whatever mix of audio and subtitle commentary I'll decide to do for this game. It's certainly going to be a mix, considering the amount of text we have to work with, and how I'm not used to much audible dialogue in a Metroid game. Funny. I'm more pleased to see the wall jump is back than I am to know the counter mechanic is still a thing here. Though maybe that's because I noticed Samus did a counter during the fight against the Chozo-suited Chozo in the cutscene, and we just didn't have time to mention it with everything else going on right then and there. Well, taking a hit did more damage than I was hoping, but nothing especially worrying, even though we don't have any energy tanks to spare just yet. Apparently, killing an enemy with a dashing melee doesn't leave much behind for us to pick up afterwards. At least I didn't see anything grabbed when we annihilated that enemy. Though to be fair, we had a full health tank and full ammo at the time we did it, so maybe there was something? I'm sorry, but I somehow preferred the Aeon Pulse from the 3DS game over the map flashing like that. With the Aeon Pulse, you need to have the sense that there's something nearby and then set it off before you learn where that something hidden is. Here, we're outright told that there's something hidden. We may not be told the exact position, but we are outright told there is something to look for in this approximate area. And maybe I'm old-fashioned, but that feels like it misses part of the point behind hiding things. Still, I suppose I prefer this to Fusion making even the regular paths difficult to spot. Ah! One of the Federation's robots. Didn't take us long to find it. Why am I not surprised that Samus is treating it as a hostile instantly, or that this supposedly indestructible thing seems to be pretty banged up? It may be a desperation move in most encounters, but the fact that the first time gives us an easy counter there oddly undersells the thing right here and now. I'm sorry, but with the sheer number of tutorials we've seen in this first clip, I can't help feeling they're treating us with very painful kid gloves. It is understandable considering how long it's been since the previous 2D Metroid release, but still, it's getting on my nerves quickly. Okay, what's going on in here? Samus, it would be nice to know why you felt the need to touch the blue glowing thing before you did there. I know it's the start of the game and we're just using the time at the moment to get the player used to the various ideas, but still, we've never had anything like the Omega Blaster before as far as I remember in the other 2D Metroid games. The closest thing I can think of is Hyper Mode from Metroid Prime 3, which I haven't gotten to yet. So how did Samus know she could absorb the energy from that glowing bit of brain matter in a broken machine, since we've certainly not been wearing the suit variant from Metroid Prime 3, and it's not a permanent upgrade like everything else we end up absorbing in this game. Right, so in the same clip we're introduced to the robots that are supposed to be the most terrifying things for us in this game. We're destroying the first one we meet. Sure, it's the least capable of the robots, but for some reason the way it was pulled off made me feel we should find a way around the broken robot instead of fighting it, even though there's a tutorial message outright saying what we should do in this situation. Sure. I'm probably an incredible idiot for not just doing what the tutorial message said. That's as obvious a bit of conveyance as you can get. But to be fair, none of the other Metroids we've gone through outright told us how to deal with a major enemy. It's more my fault than the game's that I got killed by the first Emma when we were given absolutely everything to make it the easiest of the challenges for us in here. I can't really find it in me to be all that embarrassed, though, since, again, this was a blind playthrough I recorded, and this is something new to the series. Besides, it gave me a chance to show that, much like the 3DS game, we have the checkpoint system here. And just how small a window we end up having to react when you get grabbed by one of these things. I know mechanically a lot of work was done to make the Emmas pretty terrifying to deal with in this game, but compared to our first encounter with the one in this game, to our first encounter with the SAX, I'm sorry, but as sorry as the robots are, they just don't get that same atmosphere of menace that the SAX did, because we offed the first one with ease in a tutorial that was pretty much a gimme. Though, I've got to admit, I am pretty damn curious about that Chozo-suited guy we met at the start of the game. Right, our second save point. This seems as good a time as any to stop the clip.